So thanks a lot. I just introduce what is the objective of my presentation. I would like to really demonstrate what is the key contribution of European GNSS to the world of smart cities, but especially cities with very strong cultural heritage and therefore historical and creative cities, like Matera. And I wish that my presentation can benefit to you to really get a full understanding of the many opportunities that you all have, either being application developers or being policymakers at regional level or even national level, and also being people who are interested in having a return on investment, because GNSS, European GNSS, costs 15 billion, and what is important is to understand that the return on investment is in the downstream market, therefore in users. That's why I'm very happy to be here today, not only because it's my birthday, but also because I want to thank you. I didn't want to get clapping for that, but thank you, because I'm very happy because, in fact, the users are really at the center and they are fundamental. Therefore, I will just start with showing that there are many multiple possibilities. When I joined GSA some years ago, I was interviewed by the magazine and I said that space positioning and GNSS is a gold mine. I said, was a gold mine. It is a very big gold mine for the users to get returns, to get new applications. I would say that the gold mine is especially true for the cultural heritage and for managing town like Matera. Let's not forget that 70% of the world heritage, more than that, is in Europe, and therefore it should be a top priority for politicians in Europe. There are basically three areas where GNSS can add a lot of value with EGNOS and Galileo to citizens, to businesses, and also to member states who can get taxes from new applications being developed. I would mention three main areas. The first one being the area of discovery of new tourist attractions. There is another second, maintaining of historical artifacts, and there is a third very important role, maybe very simple also to understand for all of us, increasing, enhancing the experience of users and of tourists. If I move to the first dimension, the discovery of new tourist attractions, it is very interesting to see some very concrete user applications. I will go through them, 4 of them. First, GNSS navigated drones to discover new sites. It was mentioned before also by Mr. Pratt how archaeologists are very sophisticated in this area. They are. They can discover new sites also with drones using and leveraging EGNOS and Galileo. But also surveying of archaeological sites, and I have to say that, of course, also Copernicus has a fundamental role in that, and the users already put together the two technology, EGNOS and Galileo and Copernicus. But also GNSS-based 3D spatial techniques is another very interesting opportunities and concrete application. And I want also to underline the virtual reality to elaborate models. We have experience in this area. In Horizon 2020, there was a very interesting project. I invite you to have a look on our website, which is now concretely marketed, MapKite, which is basically leveraging many of these applications. Then, if we move more to maintenance of historical artifacts. There are also here very concrete applications where GNSS can play a fundamental role. First, the smart city asset management with virtual reality application. This is, I'm sure, very clear to all of you, but also the monitoring of the cultural heritage sites and buildings, and the management of parks. And here again, Copernicus, together with GNSS, is used by public managers extensively. And here as well, we have experience, I was mentioning Lara, connected to the smart city asset management. And I want to underline that we will have now also the presentation by Deodato Tapete and by Francesca Cigna on monitoring the structural integrity of historical buildings in Rome. So this is really related to what I just mentioned. Now we move to a more concrete, down-to-earth thing, which is where the business, I think, is for sure, the mass market is, the big money, the big return on investment. We all know that. We all think we should really leverage it in this country, in this region, in Europe. It is enhancing of tourist experience. And first, of course, we have also an experience here. I was not so happy because they didn't tell me that they had Galileo in the application, but they reassured me now they are going to put it. My friend here is going to do that soon. So when we come back in about 2 days or 3 days, we'll have it. Thank you. Congratulations. And it's clear what it means having augmented reality in a mobile phone when you stand in front of the SASSI and you want to know the life. There was a cow maybe inside. How was life 100 years ago? In the 60s, Matera was basically evacuated, and in the 90s, it came to new life. And you can see that on your mobile phone, on your glasses. Then GNSS improved or enhanced itineraries, point of interest. Of course, GNSS play a fundamental role. Smart mobility solution, I mean the Uber and the bike sharing of the world. And also, to get a bit futuristic, the provision of emergency alerts. We are working in Galileo to provide that. Here as well, we have concrete experience. We have a project called GHOST, which is basically leveraging all of these applications and ideas. However, we are not passive, so we don't think the market is developing on its own. We need a very active, very dynamic, very aggressive, or maybe let's say assertive market development effort. And, I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have already 1 year after the launch of Galileo, almost 500 mobile phones in the world with Galileo inside. And I can tell you in 1 year we'll have 1 billion, and in 2-3 years we'll have maybe 2. Plus, we are market leader in Europe in the farming market. 80% of farmers use EGNOS, and soon many are going to use Galileo, or in aviation, EGNOS is the leading technology, just to mention some things. How did we do it? Of course, talking to the users, of course, talking to the application developer, for example, and of course, talking to the supply side. We know 95% of the receiver manufacturers in the world, which now are leveraging the advantage of Galileo. And I invite you to look at all the differentiators of Galileo, namely 2, the authentication, which will open new opportunities to avoid the possibility of spoofing your position, and 2, the double frequency, which is a reality because also today, in a mobile phone, I don't tell you the brand, you can have double frequency of Galileo, therefore very robust, very reliable position without the multipath effect. However, how can we make sure, on top of talking to the supply side, investing in R&D? Thanks to the European Commission, which gave us an important budget, we have basically 2 tools. On one side, on the application development, Horizon 2020, we are one of the few agencies in Europe managing R&D. Thank you to the European Commission for their trust. And as you can see, these are the 4 areas, the main areas of investment of the next call. This is just, 20 million is 20 million in next call. We are going to start tomorrow. This is already published since some time. I know that many of you already have ideas and proposals. And in March, there is the deadline. So please participate. There are very interesting topics, and we also identified on the 12th of October what are the key priorities, and we presented in Prague. So we are available to provide you also more detailed priority. And of course, we also have on the right-hand side of the slide for the receivers this program called Fundamental Elements. And we are developing there, of course, in both areas, European capabilities to make sure that European industry can become more competitive. So these are some of the topics that you can see. There are open published calls. Some are going to be published soon. You will see in the presentation. And so I invite you to take part. So I wish I convinced you about the great opportunities, the gold mine of managing and ensuring the user experience in towns like Matera and like many others in Europe. So please, not only use GNSS, but develop a lot of applications and possibly make big businesses with that. Thanks a lot.